phone line where we got the head man of LSU football, Coach Ed Orgeron. We talk to him every Tuesday at 7:30. Coach, what's going on, man?
Good morning, guys. Great to be on the show. Fantastic day for the LSU Tigers coming up. Unofficial visitors coming to campus for the first time in a while. We're excited.
Okay, so let's start there. It's June 1st, which means, yes, as you just alluded to, for the first time post-COVID, campus visits are open once again. What do y'all have planned coming up? Is it today or this weekend? Like what do the next few days look like?
You know, today we have about 15 unofficial visitors with their parents coming up. Campus tour, talk football, watch our football school this afternoon, meet with me in my office. We have a great group of young men, great group of parents coming. I can't wait to see them.
And, Coach, this is something we've talked about. I mean, y'all have had this plan for a long time. You knew one day that it would reopen, but now that day is finally here, and this is something that you thrive in. I mean, you've always been a fantastic recruiter. I mean, me and T-Bob have seen that firsthand.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine that you're not like a kid on Christmas morning today.
I spent all day preparing yesterday, man. I just came in the office, was ready. There was a lot of things that got to go on into a visit, and we have a tremendous staff. We got a great group of guys that we're going to be recruiting together for the first time. I'm excited. There's a lot of energy around the building today.
Yeah, so, Coach, when you have, like, that volume of guys, right, 15 guys, but you want to make sure that everybody's getting their kind of, your interaction, that you're dealing with them, like, how does that work? How long do you sit down with each guy? How do you manage that from, like, a time perspective?
Kiva and Olivia did a tremendous job. They were in here all day with me yesterday. We've been working on this organization for about a week now, and it's all hands on deck today. And we use everybody in the building recruits, and everybody's assigned to a certain group of young men. So when they come into the office, the first thing they do is visit with me. Then they go on academics. Then they go on a tour. Then they meet football, and then they come to practice. So it's very well organized.
All right, Coach, I want to ask you about some of the freshmen that got here last week, because there's some of those guys that we've talked about, like you, have not even had the chance to really see them in person. And so once you got your eyes on them, who impressed you? Who's someone you said, man, maybe I didn't know you were as big as you were, or, just when you walked in, you're like, okay, this guy's ready to play.
I'm really impressed with a lot of them, but Chris Hilton has been very impressive. So is Malik Neighbors. So is Brian Thomas, and so is Jack Beck. He kind of reminded me of you a little bit there, Hester. But we have a tough football player. Very, these guys are impressed in the conditioning drills. Very impressed with that group.
Coach, another group that you were impressed with, and I was surprised to see this because it's not often, or maybe ever, that I've had a college football head coach ask me this, but you specifically, after last week, wanted to reach out to me and be like, hey, man, look, I want to talk about the group of walk-ons that we have next week. What is it about these guys that has really, struck a chord with you?
First of all, as you guys know, these guys get treated just like a scholarship football player on our football team. And you guys know a lot of them. These guys are some of your best friends.
Yep.
And a lot of them are leaders on the football team. A lot of them end up getting scholarships. A lot of guys end up playing. But I'm very impressed with Coach Greg McMahon has been in charge of the walk-ons. And listen to these GPAs, 4.1, 3.9, 3.1, 3.2, 3.8, 3.9, 3.9, on and on and on. So we have some great character young men and some guys that fit the needs of an LSU walk-on. Now, check this out. We have Matt O'Dowd, a walk-on from Florida. His parents came to school here. We have Jack Ryland, who he moved to Florida, lived by himself so he could play football.
Wow.
We have three guys from St. Thomas More. A couple of them are all-state, all-district. Lane Blue from Bevel High School, first team all-district, second team all-state. Check this out. Dylan Gibbs from Hester and district MVP. And on and on and on. So we have some great young men that have come and some quality football players to help our football team.
Go on.
And the last one I forgot to mention is Quentin Cage. His nickname is Pig. He was a freshman All-America at Nickel State and at a position of need, a nickel or safety. And the guy looks phenomenal. I love him. I think all these guys are going to be in position to come in and play. And then we're expecting a young man, you guys remember his name, Lance Smith, one of the all-time great players here. His son is expected to walk on with us later on.
So just an absolutely fantastic group. It sounds like talking to Coach Ed Orgeron here on Off the Bench about this football program as recruiting opens back up today. Coach, we got some game times announced as well. How hyped are you to be playing in the Rose Bowl at prime time to kick off the season?
You know, prime time is good, but I play them at 6 a.m. It don't matter. We're going to be ready to go. But listen, I know we're going to have a lot of fans. I've talked to some people. They're going to be out there. The Rose Bowl is one of the greatest venues to play. UCLA, we watched them. They're a good football team. Chip Kelly's going to turn this program around. And, you know, we're going to Los Angeles. We're going to leave on Thursday night. Our football team is going to be very well prepared, but we're going to need some Tigers in that stadium.
Coach, I got to ask you about this. So second game is obviously against McNeese, going to be hosting in Tiger Stadium. Excuse me. I'm probably going to be full. That mute button didn't work. Probably going to be full, right? It's going to be insane. But, Coach, what's it going to be like? You've made a career of getting after quarterbacks. What's it going to be like when, you're sending Ollie Gay and company, against your son? What's that going to do?
Well, knowing Cody, he's going to expect our very best. And he's going to get it. And you know what? I expect him to do well also. But that night I'm a Tiger, and obviously that's my son. But I know Frank's going to have that team very well prepared.
And, Coach, we're talking about kickoff times, and we're kind of looking at opponents. And this year we actually know who the opponents are going to be and when the games are going to be played. And is this the first time, now that we're talking about recruiting opening back up, this is the first time probably in over a year that it's felt normal for you? Like this is a normal week and a normal time of the season when you're doing normal things.
Yes, you know, there's some excitement to get people on our campus. You know, one of the things you enjoy as a college coach is recruiting. And that's the lifeblood of your program. So to get the people on campus, get to know them, get them to camps, get them, evaluate them, and get official visits. You know, we have about 8 guys coming on official visits this weekend. Plus, we have our O-line, D-line camp. We have our kicking camp, and we have our skills camp. Ooh. So we asked a lot of people on campus. Guess what? We got it.
Talking to Coach Edo, you said you got football school coming up this afternoon, Coach. What does that look like now in week 2 of the summer program?
You know, we're still installing. Jake came up to me this morning. We're putting in a new run play. One run play that I really like, the counter OT. It's a gap scheme, as you guys know. So we're putting that in today. We're putting in the basics, fundamentals of our core values on offense and defense and special teams. And then we don't get to run plays with them. They get to go out there and have player-only practices after we do specific conditioning with our group. But one of the things I'm most impressed with is the way that the leadership of our team has taken over, and those guys are practicing out there on their own, doing a lot of things that just like we do at practice.
And, Coach, I was going to ask you maybe who are some of the defensive guys that you're looking forward to seeing that leadership come from, because I know for our championship team, on the defensive side of things, because offense, you know, the quarterback, everybody's going to gravitate around the quarterbacks. That's just the nature of that position. But defensively, like a guy like Glenn Dorsey, who was a nose tackle, but he got all the guys together defensively and got them ready to go. Who's that guy for you so far?
Yeah, up front is Andre Anthony, Ali Gay. And then the linebacker is Damone Clark, and then Derek Stingley has been a leader for us, and also Jay Ward. Our guys love Jay Ward and Cordell Flott. They're kind of quiet leaders doing it the right way. And Todd Harris has been back there. He's a veteran. So I think along with those guys, and a guy that's popped up is Jared Small. Jared's a walk-on scholarship with us, had a tremendous spring. The guys love him. So I think we have a lot of leadership on defense. But as you guys know, I always say this, you find out who your leaders are when things get tough.
Yeah, no doubt. And so, that will kind of reveal itself in time. What about on the offensive side of the ball in terms of, same thing, who's taking the initiative? Because very famously, back in 2019, championship teams always have these legends kind of crop up about them, but it's like they were out there on Saturdays at 10 a.m. practicing on their own. So, who is trying to assume that role and get the fellas together when they technically don't have to?
Yeah, the Miles Brenton and Max Johnson, both of them are doing a tremendous job of leading. and keeping guys together. But the offensive line,
Yeah.
I mean, you got that whole group backed up. And I expect them. I named them all team captains for the spring game, and I expect those guys to lead. Now, I come out here on Saturday and Sunday to run. Some of them out there on their own working out, especially Austin Deckles and Ed Ingram. Those guys have shown, and Liam Shanahan, those guys have shown to be proven leaders.
Coach O, thank you so much, man. Each and every Tuesday right here on Off the Bench at 7:30. Can't wait for the start of football season. I know you're hyped for the start of recruiting. Thank you so much.
I think, guys, go Tigers.
Yes, sir.
Coach.
You have a great day. All right, a lot to break down there. I like that answer about the freshmen, like who's kind of showed up. So let's talk about it next. We'll close out hour number 1 here on Off the Bench.